in this beautiful space, we are grateful to their commitment to making space for conversations, engagement, and education in honor of and support of our Wabanaki friends, colleagues, and community members. We are delighted to be joined tonight from students, families, teachers from all around the state to hear the poems they have chosen to bring to this event. Poetry Out Loud is sponsored nationwide by the National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation. Here in Maine, the program is sponsored by the Maine Arts Commission and the Maine Humanities Council. To say a few words about this program, I'd like to introduce Amy Hausman, Executive Director of the Maine Arts Commission.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with you. Welcome to the Poetry Out Loud State Finals at this beautiful Waterville Opera House. It's an incredible privilege to be here to gather in this space as we celebrate the power of poetry and the remarkable young voices who bring these words to life. The Maine Arts Commission is honored to present this program each year, and we are so happy that you all are here with us. As Becky said, this year marks a special milestone, the 20th anniversary of Poetry Out Loud, a program created by the National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation. Since 2005, more than 4.4 million high school students across the country have taken part in this transformative experience, building public speaking skills, confidence, and a deep appreciation for poetry. Tonight's recitations come from the NEA's Poetry Anthology. Each student carefully chose their own poems and have been working tirelessly since the beginning of the school year to perfect their performances. Our finalists have advanced through classroom competitions, school-wide contests, and regional rounds in Lewiston, Bangor, and for the very first time this year in Presque Isle. And I have deep appreciation for each and every one of you. Your dedication and your courage and your passion is so inspiring to us. After tonight, our Maine State Champion will go on to represent us at the National Finals in Washington, D.C. in May, competing for college scholarships while sharing Maine's unique voice on the national stage. Maine Arts Commission partners with the Maine Humanities Council to present this program, and I'd like to stop here just for a moment to share a note from my friend and colleague, Sama Abderkib, who is the Executive Director of the Maine Humanities Council. She cannot be with us tonight. And she wrote, "I'm so sorry that I'm not able to be with you in person. I am in Washington, D.C. this week, meeting with our congressional delegation about how important it is to fund the arts, humanities, and culture so that this beautiful program, Poetry Out Loud, can continue." Next month, one of the students you witnessed tonight will make their own way to Washington, D.C. to represent our state on the national stage. What an honor it will be for them, and what an honor it is for us to cheer you all on. So Matt continued, "At Maine Humanities, we witness the impact that poetry has on people time and time again. Poetry helps us to connect to our innermost parts. Poetry helps us to understand the inner lives of others and creates community through experience of being deeply moved by the written word. As you sit here and witness these powerful performances tonight, I imagine that you will be deeply moved. To all the performers, good luck. You are worthy and you are wonderful. We're so proud that Maine Humanities is part of your shining moment." We are very grateful for the support and partnership with Maine Humanities, and we hope that Sama is watching us on the live stream, so I have to say hello to Sama. Before I leave you, I'd like to make a personal note that I am especially thrilled that our evening tonight will be hosted by Maine Teacher of the Year, Becky Hollowell, a fourth grade teacher from beautiful Wiscasset. So thank you so much, Ms. Hollowell, for being with us. When I was in fourth grade, a visiting teacher, artist, and poet named Madeline Tiger Bass entered my classroom and changed the trajectory of my life. Supported by our state's Arts Council, Madeline helped transform my classmates and me into young poets. She shared postcards from the Metropolitan Museum of Art, inspiring us to write poems about the artwork. Madeline also encouraged us to explore our childhood memories through poetry, and at 10 years old, after already living in 5 different places, her writing prompts helped me reflect on my young life in ways that I never had before. We handwrote and illustrated our poems, and she compiled them into a beautiful an early and lasting reminder of the beautiful, powerful nature of poetry. That experience taught me something invaluable, and I think it's something that you all have learned as well. Poetry helps us to understand and shape our own stories, to be seen, to be heard, and to make sense of the world around us. That early introduction to poetry didn't just inspire me, it shaped my entire career. Before coming to Maine, I spent 25 years partnering with the Poetry Society of America to present poetry in motion in the New York City subways and poetry throughout New York State parks. I've witnessed firsthand how poetry can transform lives, and tonight I have no doubt it will transform yours. You're about to hear the voices of remarkable students, young people who, with unwavering support of their teachers, schools, friends, and families, have poured months of dedication, grace, and grit into this moment. Their courage, passion, and artistry will move you, will challenge you, will inspire you. So let's give them all a huge round of applause, and thank you, and good luck to all of you.
Thank you, Amy. And now, I'd like to welcome another special guest, a Kaveh Hanum Fellow and an Assistant Professor of Creative Writing at Colby College. She is the author of 4 books, including the poetry collection, You're the Most Beautiful Thing That Happened, and co-author of Biddy Mason Speaks Up, winner of the Maine Literary Book Award for Young People's Literature and the Nautilus Book Award Gold Medal Nonfiction. She serves on the board of directors for Foglifter and Nomadic Press and on the Community Advisory Board of Maine Writers and Publishing Alliance. Please welcome Arisa White.
Congratulations to all of the finalists and to all of the teachers and parents and friends and siblings that helped you all get here. So I became real to myself with poetry. And with time, I have faced the givens of my life with curiosity and courage, drawing up powers from deep within. Each poem I write is an act of love. It is an act of giving loving attention, acceptance, appreciation, and affection, and allowing the ingredients of my own humanity to be my sustenance, my sustainment. Each poem I've memorized lives in me, animates me with the spirit of its expression, moves me with its music, becomes a mantra when I need to lift myself off the ground and ground myself again. The poem is a state of being. It is to be. I'm not only a poet, I'm a poem. I'm a poem out loud. So I want you all to find your way, build your way with poetry, dream and intervene with poetry, love deeply into the depths, into the wells, into the rivers and lakes with poetry. Have a voice of high seas and oceans, feel the grit and waves the body offers with poetry. Be witness, be bold and brave, see and shift the eye with poetry. Break open our hearts and know its beating with poetry. Feel with poetry. Dare with poetry. Find truth with poetry, speak poetry to power, speak wild, speak out, pitch and deform the traditions. Practice joy and shamelessness with poetry. Find yourself, find where you fit, where you are a misfit, finesse your way with poetry. Poetry is the way we help give name to the nameless so it can be thought, says poet Audre Lorde. Help others find poetry. Give them poetry. Give them your poems. Give them windows, doors, cellars, wide views, side views, rare views, rooms of one's own, rooms shared and rented. Be of the moment with poetry. with language as it resembles, assembles, and resonates. Be with the day-to-day as it colors your vision, as it spells forth alternative futures. With poetry, be of place, be of beauty, be of difference. Sort through your inheritances with poetry. Heal and take accountability for your lineage with poetry. Distill your experiences with revelation and purpose with poetry. Incite us with new symbols. Find your gods, talk to your demons, know your angels with poetry. Create culture, create reciprocal relationships with the land, with the earth, return to clay and back to flesh and be elemental again. Listen with poetry. Listen hard and listen soft. Be in the fertile potentiality of silence. Do nothing with poetry. Start nothing with poetry. Because nothing is the force that renovates the world, says poet Emily Dickinson. With poetry, live life, honor life in all its agency. Imagine us forward. Imagine us just with poetry. I wish you well, I wish you good luck, and I wish you free verse.
Thank you, Arisa, and thank you, Amy Hausman. We are here tonight to hear from all 11 of the students who have advanced to this point in the competition by winning their local and regional competitions. They have worked so hard to be here, and they have impressed audiences already with excellence at their regional levels. Let's hear it for these students. Every year, teachers and program directors across the state work with their students on their journey here. In addition to the students we will see tonight, there are thousands more around the state whose high school experience has been enriched by Maine teachers and librarians who have devoted time to Poetry Out Loud programs in their communities. Thank you, educators. I'd like to be sure to thank the parents, friends, family members, and all of those who have driven students, rehearsed with them, and supported them in so many ways. Maybe some of you have these poems committed to memory by now, too. Thank you. So, here's how tonight's event will work. Students have selected all of the poems we'll recite tonight from an anthology of 1,200 poems approved by the National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation. They've been memorizing and living with these poems for months. Tonight, there will be 3 rounds of recitations. All 11 students will recite in rounds 1 and 2 in the order listed in the program. Our judges will be given time to score each recitation based on the following criteria: physical presence, voice and articulation, interpretation, evidence of understanding, overall performance, and accuracy. Brief pauses between recitations will allow our judges time. After round 2, our judges will tabulate the scores, and the top 5 students will return to recite a 3rd poem in round 3. At the end of those recitations, we'll announce the state champion and runner-up. Speaking of judges, we are very fortunate to have 4 members of Maine's poetry community here tonight to serve as judges. Miku Paul is a Maliseet writer and visual artist born and raised traditionally on the Penobscot River in Maine. She holds a BA in Communication and Human Development and received her MFA in 2010 from Stone Coast. Miku has taught poetry and fiction writing to diverse groups, including Wabanaki Writers Project, Rise Up, and at the Maine Woman Writers Collection. In 2009, the Abbey Museum in Bar Harbor hosted her one-woman multimedia exhibit titled Look Twice, the Wabanaki in Image and Verse. Texts from her poems, Mother Tongue, and History 101 have been incorporated into an original performance piece by Sakabuch, a Canadian 17th century early music ensemble that performs internationally. In addition to her activism, Miku does storytelling, practices permaculture, and creates graphic art. Miku lives and works in Portland. Thank you, Miku. Jefferson Nowicki is the author of 4 books, most recently the novel and prose poems Head of Island Beautification for the Rural Outlands in 2023, as well as Antique Densities, Modern Parables, and Other Experiments in Short Prose 2021, which won the 2022 Maine Literary Award for Poetry. He is the archivist for the Maine Women Writers Collection. Thank you, Jefferson. Adrienne Blevin's most recent book of poetry is Status Pending, 4-Way Books 2023, winner of the 2024 Maine Literary Award for Poetry. Her other full-length collections are Appalachians Run Amok, Live from the Homesick Jamboree, and The Brass Girl Brouhaha. She also co-edited Walk Till the Dogs Get Mean, a collection of essays by new and emerging Appalachian writers, and is the recipient as well of the Wilder Prize from Two Sylvias Press, a Kate Duff's Discovery Award, and a Rona Jaffe Writers Foundation Award. She is a professor of English at Colby College in Waterville, Maine, where she directs the creative writing program. Thank you, Adrienne. Todd McKinley will serve as accuracy judge. Todd has been a middle school educator for the past 26 years. He currently works in Kennebunk as an instructional strategist for grades 6 through 12. His work as a teacher and writer has led him to assume various roles with the Maine Writing Project and the Maine Council for English Language Arts. Todd has been writing poetry for many years, publishing his work with Maine Writes and Off the Coast. We truly could not hold this competition without Todd's experience and expertise. Thank you, Todd. Seated in the front row, you will see our official prompter, Martha Piskuskas. Martha is a program director at the Maine Arts Commission. Her parents were a librarian and a football coach, and somehow they produced 5 visual artists. Her 2nd grade teacher taught the whole class to recite a poem together, which they performed on TV. She does not remember it now. They will be here to provide prompting to any students who need assistance. If you need her assistance, you can signal her for a prompt by looking directly at her. Thank you, Martha. We are so eager to get started. There are a few simple ground rules for the audience. Please silence your cell phones and other devices. No flash photography. Please enter or exit the theater only during applause breaks. And now, let's get to the first round of recitations from our students. Our first participant is Abigail McCrillis of Gorham High School. Abigail loves literature and acting. Being able to see these 2 things combined through slam poetry has been an absolute dream. In her free time, Abigail reads, writes, and creates art. Abigail is an actor and has performed in numerous school productions along with productions with Portland Stage Company. She also runs cross country and competed on the varsity team this year, receiving the Top Newcomer Award. Abigail was born on Halloween, although she hasn't figured out why that's important yet. Welcome, Abigail.
Conqueror Worm by Edgar Allan Poe. Lo, 'tis a gala night within the lonesome latter years, an angel throng, bewinged, bedight, in veils and drowned in tears, sit in a theater to see a play of hopes and fears, while the orchestra breathes fitfully the music of the spheres. Mimes in the form of God on high mutter and mumble low, and hither and thither fly mere puppets they that come and go at the bidding of vast, formless things that shift the scenery to and fro, flapping from out their condor wings, invisible. Woe! That motley drama, oh, be sure it shall not be forgot, with its phantom chase forevermore by crowd that sees it not, through circle, whoever returneth into the self-same spot, and much of madness, and more of sin, and horror, the soul of the plot. But see, amid the mimic rout, a crawling shape intrude, a blood-red thing that writhes from out the scenic solitude. It writhes with mortal pangs, the mimes become its food, and seraphs sob as vermin fang in human gore imbued. Out are the lights, out all, and over each quivering form, the curtain of funeral pall comes down with the rush of a storm, while the angels, all pallid and wan, uprising, unveiling, affirm that the play is the tragedy man, and its hero, the conqueror worm.
Our next reciter, Stella Martinelli, is a freshman from Erskine Academy who loves to play all kinds of sports, play the guitar, and to craft. She thinks she wants to be a director when she's older. Writing and literature are her favorite subjects. She says she is honored to be here tonight and can't wait to recite her poems. Ladies and gentlemen, Stella Martinelli.
Caged Bird by Maya Angelou. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied. So he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill. For the caged bird sings of freedom. A free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn-bright lawn, and names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied. So he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill. For the caged bird sings of freedom.
Next, please welcome Lyra Riccadone of Morse High School. Lyra's favorite subject is English. Lyra hopes to become a choreographer and writer and to attend NYU. She also wishes to travel the world. Some hobbies and interests of hers are dancing, reading, and writing poetry, soccer, and lacrosse. A few clubs that she pursues are Women's Empowerment, SCLC, and Stage Crew. Her love for poetry started in 7th grade and has just grown. She recently won a slam poetry night and hopes to continue writing and reading. Welcome, Lyra.
Truth is, I would like to escape myself, by Noor al-Grawi. Truth is, I would like to escape myself, detach my body from my skin, peel it layer by layer to uncover beneath the surface of petals and thorns piled up year after year who I am and who I want to be. I want to be the flower that grows in dirt, the feather that flies free between the cracks of fences. A wise woman once told me, don't worry about you, worry about who you could be. I want to be the woman who sits on a desk and writes pieces of oceans, rivers on a white space, in a place where imagination has no border.
Next to the microphone, please welcome Aspen Gauthier of Oak Hill High School. Aspen is a junior in high school who can never seem to keep still. From teaching in Washington, D.C., to attending writing camps, to studying abroad, they are always looking for new opportunities and experiences. Aspen has recently found interest in neuroscience and psychology, and they hope to pursue these fields in the future. But of course, their favorite part of every day is their two cats, Sebastian and Macaroni. Welcome, Aspen.
Enough by Suzanne Buffin. I am wearing dark glasses inside the house to match my dark mood. I have left all the sugar out of the pie. My rage is a domestic kind of rage. I learned it from my mother, who learned it from her mother before her, and so on. Surely the Greeks have a word for this. Now, surely the Romans do. The more words a person knows to describe her private sufferings, the more distantly she can perceive them. I repeat the names of all the cities I've known and watch an ant drag its crooked shadow home. What does it mean to love the life we've been given? To act well the part that's been cast for us? Wind, light, fire, time, a train whistles through the far hills. One day, I plan to be writing it.
Our next participant, Aaron Sussman, represents Carabec High School. Aaron enjoys spending time with his two dogs. When he is not snuggling his dogs, he likes to spend copious amounts of time reading through a backlog of horror stories and fantasy series. His tastes in music vary from jazz to punk, but he is always a fan of anything high-tempo with a driving beat. He is in a dedicated relationship with the best instrument, the drums. Welcome, Aaron.
at the City Pound by Vincent O'Sullivan. I'm in charge of a cage. I know those that won't. I don't mean can't, just won't. There's a roster for Tuesdays, Fridays, dogs to die. The disconsolate, the abandoned, those with recurrent symptoms, the incorrigible mud, oh, a dozen choices by way of reasons. Even so, some won't play along once their number's up. The rainbow bridge and the offing, as some of the posher clinics put it. A pig's ear as a final treat. A venison chew. The profession behaving beautifully at a time like this. Still, those that won't go nicely, I mean, with a gaze to melt, a last slobbed lick. Those with a soul's defiance, though embarrassment in the lunchroom should you come at that one. Even after the bag is zipped, you feel it. We're real at the end as you are, Buster. We sniff the wind. What say if we say it together? Won't.
Our next reciter is Willow Knowles. Willow is a senior in high school at Kennebunk High School, and this is her third Poetry Out Loud state competition. She enjoys reading, baking, and has recently picked up crochet. She is still unsure what she wants to do in the future, but thinks that teaching English abroad for a few years would be nice. Welcome.
Friendship After Love by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. After the fierce midsummer, all ablaze, has burned itself to ashes and expires in the intensity of its own fires, there come the mellow, mild St. Martin days, crowned with a calm of peace, but sad with haze. So, after love has led us, till he tires of his own throes and torments and desires, comes large-eyed friendship. With a restful gaze, he beckons us to follow, and across cool, verdant vales we wander free from care. Is it a touch of frost lies in the air? Why are we haunted with a sense of loss? We do not wish the pain back or the heat, and yet, these days are incomplete.
Next to the microphone will be Lila Chibuye. Lila Chibuye is a senior at Brewer High School. She enjoys writing songs and playing her guitar. Lila is grateful to have support from her friends and mentors and has a great time working at McDonald's. Lila is excited for another opportunity to take the stage and share her love of poetry.
Ships That Pass in the Night by Paul Laurence Dunbar. Out in the sky, the great, dark clouds are massing. I look far out into the pregnant night, where I can hear a solemn, booming gun and catch the gleaming of a random light that tells me that the ship I seek is passing. My tearful eyes, my soul's deep hurt are glassing, for I would hail and check that ship of ships. I stretch my hands, imploring, cry aloud. My voice falls dead, a foot from mine own lips. And but its ghost doth reach that vessel, passing. O earth, O sky, O ocean, both surpassing. O heart of mine, O soul that dreads the dark. Is there no hope for me? Is there no way that I may sight and check that speeding bark which out of sight and sound is passing?
Participating next is Rose Lehane Tureen, a sophomore at Cheverus High School. Rose is an avid writer of poetry and a lover of classic literature. She is a champion Irish dancer and a company member of Portland Youth Dance. I am reading the wrong. So, you don't know that I teach fourth grade at Wiscasset. Well, you got the introduction, but we have a rule. The very number one rule in my classroom is we all make mistakes, and that is how we learn. So we kiss our mistake, we thank it, and we continue. Thank you. Next, please welcome Mercedes Plod. Mercedes is a 9th grader from the town of Mars Hill in Aroostook County. They live with their parents, younger sister Autumn, and pet dog. They love all kinds of art, especially drawing and sketching. Someday, they hope to be a professional animator.
Okay. And I wonder where you are by Tanya window. Secret stars blinketh a nighttime sky. Oh. Wait. I'm a little nervous. You're doing good. Keep going. Each light blinketh a nighttime sky. No, wait, did I mess it up?
sorry. Okay, I'm just gonna start that over again. Let's do it. Okay. And I Wonder Where You Are by Tanya Wendell. Secret stars blink at a nighttime sky. Each light reminds us of the preciousness of life. Your memory. Okay, your memory lives along the Milky Way. Each twinkle, saying, "Don't forget your name." It is an epidemic, a sickness to earth. This is a war as soon as we are birthed. Indigenous woman, girls, two spirits too. When did this world started disappearing you?
Rose, I'm so sorry I got you going ahead of time. Participating next is Rose Lahane Tureen, a sophomore at Cheverus High School. Rose is an avid writer of poetry and lover of classic literature. She is a champion Irish dancer and a company member at Portland Youth Dance. At Cheverus, Rose serves as class president, a key club class representative, and co-president of the Model UN Club. Rose is very grateful to the Cheverus English Department, specifically to Ms. Nelson, who has enthusiastically supported Rose's reading and writing pursuits and mentored her for this competition.
Recuerdo by Edna St. Vincent Millay. We were very tired. We were very merry. We had gone back and forth all night on the ferry. It was bare and bright and smelled like a stable. But we looked into a fire. We leaned across a table. We lay on a hilltop underneath the moon, and the whistles kept blowing, and the dawn came soon. We were very tired. We were very merry. We had gone back and forth all night on the ferry. And you ate an apple, and I ate a pear, from a dozen of each we had bought somewhere. And the sky went wan, and the wind came cold, and the sun rose dripping, a bucket full of gold. We were very tired. We were very merry. We had gone back and forth all night on the ferry. We hailed, "Good morrow, Mother," to a shawl-covered head, and bought a morning paper, which neither of us read. And she wept, "God bless you," for the apples and pears. And we gave her all our money, but our subway fares.
Now, please welcome Pendo Dawe of Maine Coast Waldorf School, a storyteller, creator, and community builder. She finds joy in songwriting, jewelry making, and bringing people together. With unwavering determination, she pours her heart into everything she does, from uplifting others through Velo and Vino Mountain Farm to chasing her biggest dreams. At her core, she's driven to make real change in the world, fighting for Black women in healthcare and advocating for a future where everyone receives the care and respect they deserve.
Suppose, by Phoebe Carey. Suppose, my little lady, your doll should break her head. Could you make it whole by crying till your eyes and nose are red? And wouldn't it be pleasanter to treat it as a joke and say you're glad 'twas Dolly's and not your head that broke? Suppose you're dressed for walking and the rain comes pouring down. Will it clear off any sooner because you scold and frown? And wouldn't it be nicer for you to smile than pout, and so make sunshine in the house where there is none without? Suppose your task, like my little man, is very hard to get. Will it make it any easier for you to sit and fret? And wouldn't it be wiser than waiting like a dunce to go to work in earnest and learn the thing at once? Suppose that some boys have a horse and some a coach and pair. Will it tire you less while walking to say it isn't fair? And wouldn't it be nobler to keep your temper sweet and in your heart be thankful you can walk upon your feet? And suppose the world don't please you, nor the way some people do. Do you think the whole creation will be altered just for you? And isn't it, my boy or girl, the wisest, bravest plan, whatever comes or doesn't come, to do the best you can?
Our final participant is Isaac Wright. Isaac is a sophomore at Mount Ararat High School, where he enjoys English and social studies classes and plays trumpet in the concert, marching, and jazz bands. When not reciting poetry, which is most of the time, he likes to read and spend time outdoors, skiing and running and riding his bicycle. Isaac's favorite poet is Billy Collins, whom he admires for his conversational style and the easy accessibility of his work.
Double Dutch by Gregory Pardlow. The girls turning double Dutch bob and weave like boxers pulling punches, shadowing each other, sparring across the slack cord, casting parabolas in the air. They whip quick as an infant's pulse, and the jumper, before she enters the winking, nods in time, as if she has a notion to share, waiting her chance to speak. But she's anticipating the upbeat like a band leader, counting off the tune they're about to swing into. The jumper steps into midair as if jumping rope in low gravity, training for a lunar mission. Airborne a moment long enough to fit a second thought in, she looks caught in the mouth bones of a fish as she flutter floats into motion, like a figure in a stack of time-lapse photos, thumbed alive. Once inside, the bells tied to her shoestrings rouse the gods who've lain in the dust since the Dutch acquired Manhattan. How she dances patterns like a dust-heavy bee retracing its travels in scale before the hive. How the whole stunning contraption of girl and rope slaps and scoops like a paddle boat. Her misted skin arranges the light with each adjustment and flex. now heather-hued, now sheen, light listing on the fulcrum of a wrist, and the bare jutted joints of elbow and knee, and the faceted surfaces of muscle, surfaces fracturing and reforming like a sun-tickled sleeve of running water. She makes jewelry of herself and garlands the ground with shadows.
Thank you, students. That will conclude round 1 of recitations. We'll take a 5-minute break and come back for round 2.
So I really enjoy haikus and other short forms of poetry because I think they strive to capture the small moments of life and often the beauty of nature and mundane activities. So reading those sorts of works makes me pay more attention to those little quotidian actions and maybe a flower that has a particularly pretty pattern on it or something. So in that way, I think that poetry has made me consider the world in ways that I didn't before.
Poetry has changed the way I think about human emotion and art. I believe that there's no permanent state of the self, and therefore art and poetry in particular is our only way of preserving an emotion or identity in a permanent way. But at the same time, poetry or music or any kind of art really can be relived again and again, and it becomes once it's been experienced by enough people, it becomes universal and personal all at once, and it's just magical to experience and to see in this competition.
Poetry has changed the way I see my world because it's always been my outlet. It's helps me like get through some things, and yeah, also I come to this poem called Small Kindness. It helps me like see the world in a kinder perspective.
Poetry has changed the way I see the world by helping me appreciate the little moments, because a talented poet can make the tiniest little thing in the world seem big and beautiful. So every time I'm like out walking my dogs or just out in the world, I try to take that same viewpoint into my life and really appreciate all the beauty around us.
I would say that I feel like I look at things a lot different, as weird as that might sound. When learning the poems that I've chosen, I've really had to slow down and really think about my words and what I'm putting out into the world. And so I feel like in that process, I've learned to slow down and take a look at everything and really truly question how that makes me feel and how that makes others feel. And I also kind of feel like I've maybe become a better speaker, though sometimes I still fumble over my own words.
I'd say poetry has changed the way I see the world in, well, I don't know if I'd say a big way, but it's small ways. Whether it's the way you talk, you add a little flair here and there, because that's fun, or you just think about stuff more. Because a lot of poems do deal with sort of heavier themes and stuff, and so when you spend a lot of time with poems like that and you understand it does kind of go into your life and you start to just think about stuff a little more.
Poetry makes me just understand things more. It makes me think about the simple things. Like the other day when I was skiing, I was just thinking about how the snow was blowing and thinking how it would be a cool poem. It just has made me more aware of nature and things like that.
Welcome back. Is everyone ready to hear some more great recitations? Absolutely. It's time for round 2 of tonight's event. Let's get back into it. Once again, please welcome Abigail McGrillis of Gorham High School.
The Last Laugh by Wilfred Owen.
Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm hit,
he said, and died. Whether he vainly cursed or prayed indeed, the bullets chirped in vain, vain, vain. Machine guns chuckled, tut, 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 tut. And the big gun guffawed. Another sighed, oh mother, mother, dad, and smiled at nothing. Childlike, being dead. And the lofty shrapnel cloud leisurely gestured, fool! And the splinters spat and tittered. My love, one moaned, love languid seemed his mood, till slowly lowered his whole face, kissed the mud. And the bayonet's long teeth grinned, rabbles of shells hooted and groaned, and the gas
Please welcome back Stella Martinelli of Erskine Academy.
Hope is the Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me.
Again, from Morse High School, please welcome Lyra Riccadone.
What to Say Upon Being Asked to Be Friends by Julian Tasmatsi Berlaski. Why speak of hate? When I do bleed for love, not hate my love, but love doth bite my tongue till I taste stuff that makes my rhyming rough. So flatter I my fever for the one, for whom I inly mourn, though seem to shun. A rose is ere rose is a Ross. So what, if I confuse the shade I've become with wine-dark substance in a lover's cup? But stop, my tonguely wound I have bled enough, if I be fair or false or freaked with fear, if I my tongue in locked box immure. Blame not me, for I am sick with love, yet would I be your friend most willingly, since friendship would infect me killingly.
Please welcome Aspen Gauthier of Oak Hill High School.
I eat breakfast to begin the day by Zubair Ahmed. I create time. I cannot create time. I am frozen in place. I cannot be frozen. I'm moving, but don't notice. I notice me moving. I pay attention to the small, yet immense, yet small movements that guide my limbs, my hair growth, my joint oils. I don't think about it. I don't feel it either. I don't have any emotions right now. I see films of divine quality. I don't see any films. This black, this not black. To me, I am not, to me, not. I walk with this hollowness. I walk with this blooming. I'm moving outward forever, onward, eternally inward. I create all objects, like shampoos and cats. I create nothing, like space and antimatter. I resign to the clocks that keep time. I surrender to the clocks that don't keep time. I'm sure about it. The color white, I'm not sure about it. What is word? Oh, the loops and unloops. Destiny unfolds in my knees. I eat breakfast to begin the day.
From Carabec High School, welcome Aaron Sussman.
The Conqueror Worm by Edgar Allan Poe. Lo, 'tis a gala night within the lonesome latter years. An angel throng, bewinged, bedight in veils and drowned in tears, sit in a theater to see a play of hopes and fears, while the orchestra breathes fitfully the music of the spheres. Mimes in the form of God on high mutter and mumble low, and hither and thither fly. Mere puppets they who come and go at bidding of vast, formless things that shift the scenery to and fro, flapping from out their condor wings invisible woe. Oh, that motley drama! To be sure, it shall not be forgot, with its phantom chased forevermore by a crowd that sees it not through a circle that ever returneth into the self-same spot, and much of madness and more of sin and horror, the soul of the plot. But see, amid the mimic root, a crawling shape intrude, a blood-red thing that writhes from out the scenic solitude. It rides, with mortal pangs the mimes become its food, and seraphs sob at vermin fangs in human gore imbued. Out are the lights, out all, and over each quivering form, the curtain, a funeral pall, comes down with the rush of a storm, while the angels all pallid wan, uprising, unveiling, affirm that the play is the tragedy man, and its hero, the conqueror worm.
Once again, welcome Willow Knowles of Kennebunk High School.
What Women Are Made Of by Bianca Lynn Spriggs. There are many kinds of open, Audre Lorde. We are all ventricle, spine, lung, larynx, and gut, clavicle and nape, what lies forked in an open palm. We are follicle and temple. We are ankle, arch, sole, pore and rib, pelvis and root, and tongue. We are wishbone, and gland, and molar, and lobe. We are hippocampus, and exposed nerve, and cornea, areola, pigment, melanin, and nails, varicose, cellulite, divining rod, sinew and tissue, saliva and silt. We are blood and salt, clay and aquifer. We are breath and flame and stratosphere, palimpsest and bibelot and cloisonne fine lines, marigold, hydrangea, and dimple, nightlight, satellite, and stubble. We are pinnacle, plummet, dark circles, and dark matter, a constellation of freckles and specters and miracles and lashes, both bent and erect. we are all give and give back. We are Volta and Girder. Make an incision in our nectary, and painted ladies sail forth, riding the back of a warm wind, plumes with love and things like love crack us down to the marrow, and you may find us full of cicada husks and sand dollars and salted maple taffy, weary of welding together our daydreams, all sweet tea, razor blades, carbon, and patchwork quilt of good God and Lord have mercy. Our hands remember how to turn the earth before we do. Our intestinal cumulonimbus, streaked with saffron light. Our foundation, not in our limbs or hips. This comes first as an amen, a hallelujah, a suckling, swaddled psalm sung at the cosmos's breast. You want to know what women are made of? Open wide and find out.
Reciting next, welcome back Lila Chibuye of Brewer High School.
Meanwhile, by Richard Sykin. Driving. Dogs barking. How you get used to it. How you make the new streets yours. Trees outside the window, and a big band sound that makes you feel like everything's okay. A feeling that lasts for one song, maybe. The parentheses all clicking shut behind you. The way we move through time and space, or only time. The way it's night for many miles, and then suddenly, it's not. It's breakfast, and you're standing in the shower for over an hour, holding a bar of soap up to the light. I will keep watch. I will water the yard. Knot the tie and go to work. Unknot the tie and go to sleep. I sleep. I dream. I make up things that I would never say. I say them very quietly. The trees and wind, the streetlights on, the click and flash of cigarettes being smoked on the lawn. Just a little kiss before we say goodnight. It spins like a wheel inside you. Green, yellow, green, blue, green, beautiful green. It's simple. It isn't over. It's just begun. It's green. It's still green.
Next up, welcome back Mercedes Plod of Central Aroostook High School.
There we go. Because I was silenced by Hun John. Wait, did I mess up? Whatever. Once I have the freedom to say, my tongue loses its power. My poems strive to break the walls that cut off people's voices. They become throws and hammers, but I will be silence. The started tie around my neck any moment can tighten as a cobra. How can I speak about coffee and flowers?
Joining us next, welcome back Rose Lahane Tureen of Chevres High.
The Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Half a league, half a league, half a league onward, all in the valley of death, rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade, charge for the guns, he said. Into the valley of death, rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade! Was there a man dismayed? Not though the soldier knew someone had blundered. There's not to make reply, there's not to reason why, there's but to do and die. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon in front of them, volleyed and thundered. Stormed out with shot and shell, boldly they rode and well. Into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell, rode the 600. Flashed all their sabers bare, flashed as they turned in air, sabering the gunners there, charging an army, while all the world wondered. Plunged in the battery smoke, right through the line they broke. Cossack and Russian reeled from the saber stroke, shattered and sundered. Then they rode back, but not the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon behind them, volleyed and thundered. Stormed out with shot and shell, while horse and hero fell. They that had fought so well came through the jaws of death, back from the mouth of hell. All that was left of them, left of 600. When can their glory fade? Oh, the wild charge they made. All the world wondered. Honor the charge they made. Honor the Light Brigade, noble 600.
Next, welcome back to the microphone, Pendo Dawe of Maine Coast Waldorf School.
Faintly Lingers by An Ju Chal, translated by Janine Walker. Faintly remains, scarcely remains. Drops of water form inside my life as I cherish a drop of light. Just as love is formed inside the word love, just as the word goodbye doesn't permeate it, it faintly lingers. A thin part of me remains. Sometimes, inside me, a full feeling arises, and inside me is almost full of things other than me, but it's far from me. It's forever in the distance. Before loving, even before we fall in love, before parting, like someone broken up with, I'm faintly, thinly breathing. Even if I look in the mirror, I'm not there. Even if I take a picture, I'm not there. Even if I look back strongly with my neck, I'm not there. Even after finishing the preparations to love, like someone broken up with before it even begins, faintly I remain. It's faint, but a drop of a clear me forms in the middle of my life.
And once more, Isaac Wright of Mount Ararat High School.
There are no kings in America by Eileen Casanetto. We are not that kind of country. We are sanctuary for the hungry, the homeless, the huddled, held together by an idea our immigrant fathers believed in. Rendered, it meant independence. Pursued, it kindled war, ordinance, a fighting chance. 40,000 musket balls by themselves did not shape the boundaries on which we map our days. To draw our borders, we needed more than fire cakes, more than a pound of meat with bone and gristle, or salt fish and a gill of peas. We needed the faith and grit of people who were not yet Americans. To be an American is to recognize the sacrifice of the widow and the orphan. It is to understand the weft of tent cities expecting caravans, and the heft of a child in a camp not meant for children, or sitting before a judge, awaiting judgment. What do we say to the native whose lands we now inhabit? What do we say to our immigrant fathers who held certain truths to be self-evident. Do we still now pledge to one another our lives, our fortunes, our sacred honor? There are no kings in America. Only gilded men we can topple again and again.
Thank you all. We'll take a 10-minute break. 5 finalists and hear their final recitations.
I'd say poetry has changed the way I see the world in, well, I don't know if I'd say a big way, but it's small ways. Whether it's the way you talk, you add a little flair here and there because that's fun, or you just think about stuff more. Because a lot of poems do deal with sort of heavier themes and stuff, and so when you spend a lot of time with poems like that and you understand them, it does kind of go into your life and you start to just think about stuff a little more.
Poetry has changed the way I think about human emotion and art. I believe that there's no permanent state of the self, and therefore art and poetry in particular is our only way of preserving an emotion or identity in a permanent way. But at the same time, poetry or music or any kind of art really can be relived again and again, and it becomes once it's been experienced by enough people, it becomes universal and personal all at once, and it's just so magical to experience and to see in this competition.
So I really enjoy haikus and other short forms of poetry because I think they strive to capture the small moments of life and often the beauty of nature and mundane activities. So reading those sorts of works makes me pay more attention to those little quotidian actions, and maybe a flower that has a particularly pretty pattern on it or something. So in that way, I think that poetry has made me consider the world in ways that I didn't before.
Poetry has changed the way I see my world because it's always been my outlet. It's helps me like get through some things, and yeah. Also, I come to this poem called Small Kindness. It helps me like see the world in a kinder perspective.
Poetry has changed the way I see the world by helping me appreciate the little moments, because a talented poet can make the tiniest little thing in the world seem big and beautiful. So every time I'm like out walking my dogs or just out in the world, I try to take that same viewpoint into my life and really appreciate all the beauty around us.
Poetry makes me, I think it makes me just understand, or it makes me think about the simple things. Like the other day when I was skiing, I was just thinking about how the snow was blowing and thinking how it would be a cool poem. It just has made me more aware of nature and things like that.
I would say that I feel like I look at things a lot different, as weird as that might sound. When learning the poems that I've chosen, I've really had to slow down and really think about my words and what I'm putting out into the world. And so I feel like in that process, I've learned to slow down and take a look at everything and really truly question how that makes me feel and how that makes others feel. And I also kind of feel like I've maybe become a better speaker, though sometimes I still fumble over my own words.
Poetry has changed the way that I see the world because it's something different for me.
Honestly, I never really connected with writing a whole lot growing up because it felt like a chore, especially going into school and high school and having to write essays and reports and all the other miscellaneous assignments. It made writing feel like something that had to be done, that was an assignment that had to be turned in for a grade, and there were just so many numbers and expectations attached to it. But poetry really rewrites that entire script by making writing something that can be completely individual. I don't have to write for anybody else other than myself. And reading poems also allows you to view the world differently because it puts this lens on even the most mundane of things, kind of showing you how to view the world in a new light and really just appreciate every single aspect of it because poetry gets so deep into this.
So I really enjoy haikus and other short forms of poetry because I think they strive to capture the small moments of life and often the beauty of nature and mundane activities. So reading the has made me attention to those little quotidian actions and maybe a flower that has a particularly pretty pattern on it or something. So in that way, I think that poetry has made me consider the world in ways that I didn't before.
Poetry has changed the way I think about human emotion and art. I believe that there's no permanent state of the self, and therefore art and poetry in particular is our only way of preserving an emotion or identity in a permanent way. But at the same time, poetry or music or any kind of art really can be relived again and again, and it becomes once it's been experienced by enough people, it becomes universal and personal all at once, and it's just so magical to experience and to see
Helped. Yeah. Also, I come to this poem called Small Kindness. It helps me like see the world in a kinder perspective.
Poetry has changed the way I see the world by helping me appreciate the little moments, because a talented poet can make the tiniest little thing in the world seem big and beautiful. So every time I'm like out walking my dogs or just out in the world, I try to take that same viewpoint into my life and really appreciate all the beauty around us.
I would say that I feel like I look at things a lot different, as weird as that might sound. When learning the poems that I've chosen, I've really had to slow down and really think about my words and what I'm putting out into the world. And so I feel like in that process, I've learned to slow down and take a look at everything and really truly question how that makes me feel and how that makes others feel. And I also kind of feel like I've maybe become a better speaker, though sometimes I still fumble over my own words.
I'd say poetry has changed the way I see the world in, well, I don't know if I'd say a big way, but it's small ways. It's the way you talk, you add a little flair here and there, because that's fun. Or you just think about stuff more. Because a lot of poems do deal with sort of heavier themes and stuff, and so when you spend a lot of time with poems like that and you understand them, it does kind of go into your life and you start to just think about stuff a little more.
Poetry makes me, I think it makes me just understand things more. It makes me think about the simple things. Like the other day when I was skiing, I was just thinking about how the snow was blowing and thinking how it would be a cool poem. It just has made me more aware of nature and things like that.
Poetry has changed the way that I see the world because it's framed writing as something different for me. Honestly, I never really connected with writing a whole lot growing up. It felt like a chore, especially going into school and high school and having to write essays and reports and all the other miscellaneous assignments. It made writing feel like something that had to be done, that was an assignment, it had to be turned in for a grade, and there were just so many numbers and expectations attached to it. But poetry really rewrites that entire script by making writing something that can be completely individual. I don't have to write for anybody else other than myself. And reading poems also allows you to view the world differently because it puts this lens on even the most mundane of things, kind of showing you how to view the world in a new light and really just appreciate every single aspect of it because poetry gets so deep into those details.
My name is Willow Knowles, and I am a senior at Kennebunk High School.
My name is Abigail McCrillis, and I attend Gorham High School.
I'm Lyra Riccadoni, and I'm from Bath. I go to Morse High School.
Hi, I'm Rose Lahane Tureen. I'm from Falmouth, and I go to Chevres High School.
My name is Pendo Mercy Bothadewe. I go to Maine Coast Waldorf School in Freeport, Maine. I have been living in New Gloucester recently with my new host family.
Hi, I am Aaron Sussman from Emden, Maine, and I go to high school.
Hi, my name is Stella Marinelli. I live in Whitefield, and I go to Erskine Academy.
Hello, my name is Aspen Gauthier. I'm from Litchfield, Maine, and I go to Oak Hill High School.
So, one of the poems I chose is I Once Was a Child by Victoria Chang. And I chose this one because I really like the stream of consciousness style to it. It has a lot of repetition, and I thought it would make a really good recited poem. And I also really liked the playing on meaning in it. It has both sort of a social justice message, which I think is gives it an impact, and also playing around with ideas of childhood and culture.
The poem I chose, The Last Laugh by Wilfred Owen, is a poem written by a soldier who was actually in the trenches and experiencing the horror of World War I while he was writing the poem. And I think it's such a vivid illustration of like what he was going through at that time that it really ties you to a time that you might not have otherwise understood or really like given time to understand. I feel like a lot of the time we're so like pressured to know things about history that have a lot to do with like dates or government systems or like very cold kinds of things. And with poetry like this, you really get a portrait of a human experience that I think is extremely valuable to help people to emphasize with people who lived a long time ago and people who live today, that experiences we might not be able to understand otherwise. And I really hope that with my portrayal of this poem, I could give people a snapshot of an experience that they might not otherwise understand as much.
One of the poems that means the most to me is Truth Is I Would Like to Escape Myself, because I think I relate to it most, because I do find that I would like to escape everyday reality, and I want to be everything everywhere all at once, which I feel like this poem really represents.
I'm doing Recuerdo by Edna St. Vincent Millay, and I'm really fond of her as a poet because she's from Maine and went to Vassar like my mom, and she also just was a real feminist icon and a lady with a great sense of style. And I really think she brings both of those two things into Recuerdo because it's really in touch with her femininity. It's a little like a conversation with your girlfriend about your date, and it's also very stylish.
The three poems that I have chosen are Suppose by Phoebe, which is a poem about kind of like sadness and turning sadness into like happy thoughts and feelings. Yeah. I also chose It Faintly Lingers by Anju Chao, which is kind of a poem about like feeling yourself and all the things that are inside of you, and it's very sad, but really, really powerful. And the third poem that I chose is Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear by Mosab Abutoa, which is a very, very hard poem, I would say, because you have to really feel the different emotions, and it's also about like the Palestinian war and just someone who has been in that situation.
That'd definitely be Conqueror Worm. Conqueror Worm deals in a lot of themes of kind of death and life and the adventure or experience of life, and sure, there are plenty of different ways out there that have interpreted that, but to me the Conqueror Worm in particular is so vastly more dramatic and interesting and complex. Everyone's mimes and they're just putting on a play and living out their life, and then in comes a massive worm that eats everyone, and that's fun. Fun is what I look for.
One poem I think resonates with me is Hope is the Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson. I like all three of my poems a lot, but this one really stuck with me just because it's winter here in Maine, and it talks about hope and how it doesn't cost anything and how you can always just have it. And I don't know, I think that's something nice to think about in these winter months.
One of the poems that I chose to recite for Poetry Out Loud this year was Enough by Suzanne Buffum. I really connected with this poem because I love the way that Suzanne Buffum formats her poems, and this one in particular I really connected to because in it, Suzanne Buffum talks about what she calls a domestic kind of rage, and I really like that because I think that it's important, especially for women, to discuss some of these deeper emotions and use poetry as a device to express some of the feelings and thoughts that might not be very conventional.
Recite once more in round 3. I'd like to take a moment to recognize every student who has recited for us tonight. Congratulations to all of you for being Maine State finalists. The students who will recite for us now in round 3, in no particular order, are Pendo Dawe, Rose Lahane Tureen, Willow Knowles, Lila Chibuye, and Isaac Wright. As these students prepare round, please welcome Maine's Poet Laureate, Julie Bousma. Julie Bousma lives off the grid in the mountains of Western Maine, where she works as a poet, homesteader, editor, teacher, and small-town librarian. She is Maine's 6th Poet Laureate, currently serving a term from 2021 to 2026, and is the author of 3 poetry collections, Work by Bloodlight in 2017, Midden in 2018, and Death Fluorescence, which is forthcoming in June of 2025. Welcome, Julia.
Hello, good evening. I'm just going to fill this little interlude so our remaining 5 students can prepare themselves. And so I'm just going to take this opportunity to share a poem with you in the spirit of Poetry Out Loud. I am not going to share a poem of my own, but a poem that moves me, a poem that I feel like I need right now. and that in talking to many people I know, I think they might need too. This is a poem by our current U.S. poet, Ada Limon, who visited Colby and Waterville in the fall. And this poem felt relevant to me for this occasion because it's a poem about the transportive qualities of poetry. I like to tell people that one of poetry's most important superpowers is its ability to compress language to the point of possibility. Or to echo Arisa, and I think this is the third time that Audre Lorde will be quoted this evening, to move our spirits most deeply and directly through promise. I believe this poem is a stunning embodiment of that concept. The Magnificent Frigate Bird by Ada Limon. Is it okay to begin with the obvious? I am full of stones. Is it okay not to look out this window, but to look out another? A mentor once said, you can't start a poem with a man looking out a window. Too many men looking out a window. What about a woman? Today is a haunting. One last orange on the counter. It is a dead fruit. We swallow dead things. Once in Rio, near Leblon, large seabirds soared over the vast South Atlantic Ocean. I had never seen them before. 8-foot wingspan and gigantic in their confident gliding, black, with a red neck like a wound or a hidden treasure, or both. When I looked it up, I learned it was the magnificent frigate bird. It sounded like that enormity of a bird had named itself. What a pleasure to say, I am magnificent. And two, they traveled as a team, so I wondered if they named each other, generously tapping one another's deeply forked tail, or their plumage glistening with salt air, their gular sacks saying, you are magnificent. You are also magnificent. It makes me want to give all my loves the adjectives they deserve. You are resplendent. You are radiant. You are sublime. I am far away from tropical waters. I have no skills for flight or wings, to skim the waves effortlessly like the wind itself. But from here, I can still imagine rapture, a glorious caught fish in the mouth of a bird. I'm looking forward to all of our magnificent poets next.
Thank you, Julia. Now it's time to hear our students. Once again, please welcome Pendo Dawe.
Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear by Mosab Abu Toa. When you open my ear, touch it gently. My mother's voice lingers somewhere inside. Her voice is the echo that helps recover my equilibrium when I feel dizzy during my attentiveness. You may encounter songs in Arabic, poems in English I recite to myself, or a song I chant to the chirping birds in our backyard. When you stitch the cut, Don't forget to put all these back in my ear. Put them back in order, as you would do with books on your shelf. The drone's buzzing sound, the roar of an F-16, the screams of bombs falling on houses, on fields, and on bodies, of rockets flying away. Rid my small ear canal of them all. Spray the perfume of your smiles on the incision. Inject the song of life into my veins to wake me up. Gently beat the drum so my mind may dance with yours, my doctor, day and night.
Again, Rose Lahane Tureen.
How to Triumph Like a Girl by Ada Limon. I like the lady horse's back, how they make it all look easy. Like running 40 miles per hour is as fun as taking a nap. Or grass. I like their lady horse swagger after winning. Ears up, girls, ears up. But mainly, let's be honest, I like that they're ladies. As if this big, dangerous animal is also a part of me. That somewhere inside the delicate skin of my body, their compound female horse heart, giant with power, heavy with blood. Don't you want to believe it? Don't you want to lift my shirt and see the huge, beating, genius machine that thinks? No, it knows it's going to come in first.
Returning to the stage, please welcome Willow Knowles.
I Once Was a Child by Victoria Chang. I once was a child, am a child, am someone's child, not my mother's, not my father's. The boss gave us special treatment for something special. A lollipop or a sticker, glitter from the toy box. The better we did, the better the plastic prize made in China. One year, everyone got a spinning top. One year, everyone got a tap on their shoulders. One year, everyone was fired. Everyone fired but me. One year, we all lost our words. One year, my father lost his words to a stroke of bad luck. Stuck. His words used to be so worldly. His words. Fired him. Let him go without notice. Can they do that? Can she do that? Yes, she can. In this land, she can. Once we sang songs around a piano. This land is your land. This land is my land. In this land, someone always owns the land. In this land, someone who owns the land, owns the buildings on the land, owns the people in the buildings, unless an earthquake sucks the land in like a long noodle.
Returning next, Lila Chibuye.
Duh, by Dorian Lau. Someone spoke to me last night, told me the truth. Just a few words, but I recognized it. I knew I should make myself get up, write it down, but it was late, and I was exhausted from working all day in the garden, moving rocks. Now, I remember only the flavor, not like food, sweet or sharp. More like a fine powder, like dust. And I wasn't elated or frightened, but simply wrapped, aware. That's how it is sometimes. God comes to your window, all bright light, black wings, and you're just too tired to open it.
Once again, welcome Isaac Wright.
55. Not Marble, nor the Gilded Monuments, by William Shakespeare. Not marble, nor the gilded monuments of princes shall outlive this powerful rhyme. But you shall shine more bright in these contents than unswept stone, besmeared with sluttish time. When wasteful war shall statues overturn, and broils root out the work of masonry, nor Mars his sword, nor war's quick fire shall burn the living record of your memory. 'Gainst death and all oblivious enmity shall you pace forth. Your praise shall still find room, even in the eyes of all posterity that wear this world out to the ending due. So, till the judgments that yourself arise, you live in this, and dwell in lovers' eyes.
Thank you, students. The judges have a bit of work to do, so while they tally up all of the scores, we'll take a 10-minute break.
On the page, you can see the layout of the poem. If the poet has done any fun things with like making it into the shape of a heart, or you can see the enjambment. To take it at the same pace that you do, and that can lead to surprises sometimes. If the poem has a sudden turn in it, that can be really highlighted in a spoken recitation, whereas it might get a little lost in reading when you're just sitting reading it.
A poem on the page and a poem read aloud are completely different art forms. For a poem on the page, I feel like it's more about your eye's journey down the page, and you wouldn't take in some of the sounds that the words are making as much as if you were to hear them aloud. While if you hear the poem aloud, it's all about the repetition and the different sounds that you're hearing, like the heavy words, like the soft words, the floating words, the sharp words, the different consonant and vowel sounds. It speaks through you almost like the notes of a song. It's very, very different arts.
A poem read aloud, I feel like you can read it differently and make the other person's perception of it different, and when you're just reading it, it's like however you think it sounds.
While written poetry retains the same meaning and nuances as the poet originally wrote it, spoken adds a lot of layers, because you as the person reciting the poem are sharing with your audience your own interpretation, which is based off of your own life. And you know, you make the poem vital, you become the poem and really bring it to life. And poetry as an art that's unfortunately sometimes considered antiquated is something that it's really important to bring to life. And I think speaking a poem makes it a lot more accessible for a lot of viewers.
against words on a page. Words on a page are great. Words on a page are my favorite. But what life is there on words on a page? What draw intrigue is there on words on a page? I feel that it takes recitation of a poem to really bring them to life. You're not hearing a poem unless you've heard it recited, because that is what makes a poem a poem. And it is not through one recitation, it's through many recitations. It's through this person reciting it, and everyone reciting it for years and years to come that makes a poem.
There's a giant difference. When it's read aloud, you feel the emotions more, especially if it's a good reciter. You can just feel the emotion more, and it's a lot easier to read between the lines because there's a lot of reading between the lines. When it's just on paper, black and white, it's hard to understand it at first.
To me, the difference between reading a poem aloud and reading a poem on the page is the interpretation of it. I think that when you read a poem on the page, there are so many different ways that it can be interpreted, and honestly, it can feel a little bit daunting sometimes reading a poem on the page. It is just a beautiful thing that you get to interpret it whatever way you want, but I think that especially for people who have not read a lot of poetry or have not written a lot, that having something so open-ended and with so much room for interpretation can be a little daunting. I think that when it's read aloud, I find more comfort in that because it's almost like someone guiding you and showing you their interpretation of it, and you can almost compare and contrast that with your own interpretation of the poem if you've read it beforehand. And I just think that there's so many different ways to understand how something's written and to relate it to your own personal life, that reading it on the page, you kind of give yourself the space to do that, whereas having it read aloud, you get to see another person's interpretation of it.
I would say my mother was a really big help to me. I recited a lot of poems to her, and while my cats would probably like to think that they were helpful, they were not. They mostly just distracted me. Though I did recite some poems to them, so maybe they enjoyed it.
In my process in getting to the state finals, my parents and sister helped me to learn the poem. I knew all the words, and my teachers, Ms. Wyatt and Ms. Steen, helped me to learn kind of about the competition since this is my first year, and provided me with feedback on my recitations, which was really helpful.
My parents and my teachers.
I got a lot of help from my mother in the process of preparing for this competition. She helped me go through all of the many poems on the Poetry Out Loud website, and she's heard me recite my 3 poems about 1 million times. I bet she could do it herself at this point. I also got a lot of help from my English teacher, Miss Nelson. She was super supportive along the way of me competing, and overall just really got me interested in poetry in general, so thank you.
I would say a lot of people, really. I mean, myself, because I really pushed myself beyond limits that I don't think I ever have. Like I said, right now I'm also doing 1X, which is really difficult because I have to embody so many different, parts of myself. But I would also say my boyfriend, who has been really, really supportive and has pushed me through a lot of the trauma that I've had. I would also say my host family has helped a lot, especially with rides and getting me to places and just being really, really supportive.
Yeah. I'd say everyone. I'd say my teacher, Miss Taylor, for giving me the opportunity. My friends for encouraging me to do it, which otherwise I might not have. And so it's everyone around me.
Honestly, I haven't had that much assistance from anyone. I've kind of taken this as my own adventure and see how far I can go on my own. And so far it's been pretty successful.
A person who has helped me in getting to the state finals for Poetry Out Loud has definitely been my teacher, Jeremy Young, who introduced me to the program. We did it in class, and he's really just been very helpful in getting me through this entire process.
Of course, also my parents and my sibling have been incredibly important for me as my support system. So honestly, there's just so many amazing people in this process, and I'm so grateful for all of it.
I'd say poetry is the way I see the world in, well, I don't know if I'd say a big way, but it's small ways. Whether it's the way you talk, you add a little flair here and there because that's fun, or you just think about stuff more. Because a lot of poems do deal with sort of heavier themes and stuff, and so when you spend a lot of time with poems like that and you understand them, it does kind of go into your life and you start to just think about stuff a little more.
Poetry has changed the way I think about human emotion and art. I believe that there's no permanent state of the self, and therefore art and poetry in particular is our only way of preserving an emotion or an identity in a permanent way. But at the same time, poetry or music or any kind of art really can be relived again and again, and it becomes once it's been experienced by enough people, it becomes universal and personal all at once, and it's just so magical to experience and to see in this competition.
So I really enjoy haikus and other short forms of poetry because I think they strive to capture the small moment of life and often the beauty of nature and mundane activities. So reading those sorts of works makes me pay more attention to those little quotidian actions and maybe a flower that has a particularly pretty pattern on it or something. So in that way, I think that poetry has considered the world in ways that I didn't before.
Poetry has changed the way I see my world because it's always been my outlet. It's helps me like get through some things, and yeah. Also, I come to this poem called Small Kindness. It helps me like see the world in a kinder perspective.
Poetry has changed the way I see the world by helping me appreciate the little moments, because a talented poet can make the tiniest little thing in the world seem big and beautiful. So every time I'm like out walking my dogs or just out in the world, I try to take that same viewpoint into my life and really appreciate all the beauty around us.
Poetry makes me, I think it makes me just understand things more. It makes me think about the simple things. Like the other day when I was skiing, I was just thinking about how the snow was blowing and thinking how it would be a cool poem, be a cool poem, be a cool poem, be a cool poem.
I would say that I feel like I look at things a lot different, as weird as that might sound. When learning the poems that I've chosen, I've really had to slow down and really think about my words and what I'm putting out into the world. And so I feel like in that process, I've learned to slow down and take a look at everything and really truly question how that makes me feel and how that makes others feel. And I also kind of feel like I've maybe become a better speaker, though sometimes I still fumble over my own words.
Poetry has changed the way that I see the world because it's framed writing as something different for me. Honestly, I never really connected with writing a whole lot growing up because it felt like a chore, especially school and high school, and having to write essays and reports and all the other miscellaneous assignments. It made writing feel like something that had to be done, that was an assignment that had to be turned in for a grade, and there were just so many numbers and expectations attached to it. But poetry really rewrites that entire script by making writing something that can be completely individual. I don't have to write for anybody else other than myself. And reading poems also allows you to view the world differently because it puts this lens on even the most mundane of things, kind of showing you how to view the world in a new light and really just appreciate every single aspect of it, because poetry gets so deep into those.
And announce our champion and runner-up. I want to once again thank Amy Hausman and Sama Adurakib at the Maine Arts Commission and Maine Humanities for bringing this program to Maine. Thank you to Arisa White and Julia Bausma, who joins me now to present the awards. I would like to invite all of tonight's participants to join me once again on stage. We are proud of all the hard work that brought you here tonight. Come on up.
They are right here. So that one goes first.
Once again, let's hear it for these students, each and every one of them. Are you ready? This year's Poetry Out Loud runner-up is Rose Lehane to read.
Oops, gotta make sure we got the right one.
And our state champion, headed to national finals in Washington, D.C., is Pendo Dawe. Congratulations to our champions and to all of Maine's Poetry Out Loud participants. Once again, I'd like to welcome Amy Hausman of the Maine Arts Commission.
Thank you. I cannot say how wonderful this night was. Thank you so much to our incredible students. Let's give them one more round of applause for all their great work. So incredible. The talent, dedication, and courage that we've witnessed tonight is truly inspiring. And I want to thank each and every one of you for your hard work. I want to congratulate our winners for tonight. I want to thank all of the teachers and principals and superintendents and school staff who guide and support these students every day. Yeah, woo, good job, wonderful work. And a big thanks to all of the friends and the families and the supporters and the community who have supported these students in their work. Thank you so much. Before we officially close out the 2025 Poetry Out Loud celebration, we want to express our deep gratitude to our partners at the Council and our regional partners at the Public Theater in Lewiston, Shanna Cox at the LA Metro Chamber of Commerce, Ben Treat and Candace Joyce at the Bangor Public Library, Kim Smith of the City of Presque Isle, and Elise Kane at the Mark and Emily Turner Library in Presque Isle. They helped us make this event possible, and we're so grateful for all of their support and work. Also, a special thanks to our media partner, Portland Media Center. Thank you so much for making this. We want to thank everybody at home who I know has been live streaming because they've been texting me all night long to say how amazing you are, so thank you for that. Also, we really want to say thank you to Julia Bausma, who's our Maine State Poet Laureate, and our MC, Becky Hallowell. Thank you so much. And a thank you to everyone here at the Waterville Opera House. I would love to offer a special invitation to everyone here for Friday, April 4th at the State House in Augusta, where we will celebrate National Poetry Month. We'll celebrate with all of our Poetry Out Loud competitors and poets from our statewide Write Me program. So please join us at the State House on Friday, April 4th, for more celebration of poetry. I'd like to thank the Maine Arts Commission and the staff for helping make this event happen, particularly Christina Courage, who's here, I know, in the background, who is our Literary Arts Program Manager. And I would like to take a moment to thank someone very special. Brita, are you here? Where are you? Brita? Oh, okay, Brita Wanger, come out. Can you grab those flowers for me? Brita has been a consultant with the Maine Arts Commission. She used to be on the staff of the Maine Arts Commission. She's been organizing the Poetry Out Loud event for the past 3 years. We are deeply grateful for your experience and for your extraordinary dedication to our students, to their families, and to this program, Brita. Thank you so much for all your work. We hope you will come back again. And we just wanted to say thank you. Yay! Finally, as we leave tonight, I want to encourage and challenge each of you to carry poetry with. Instead of doom scrolling on your phone at night when you're laying in bed, which I know many of you are doing, instead, follow the example of these incredible humans who have memorized these remarkable poems. Learn a poem, memorize it, recite it in the shower, recite it in the car, recite it to your family, recite it to your dog. Recite a poem and keep it and hold it in your heart and in your mind. And if you are feeling brave, come back next year and share it with us. We're going to take some photos up here. To thank all of you, I want to congratulate you. Have fun in Washington, D.C. And thank you for representing the great state of Maine. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Get home safe, and thank you. Thank you.